Hey everyone, it's Sam. Just wanted to follow up on the deployments and give you a look at how to set up CI/CD with GitHub Actions and Kamal and Hetzner to get a test pipeline going, and then when you merge to master, it deploys automatically. So let's check that out. Okay, so let's just get started. GitHub makes this pretty easy, so we can go in here. Usually they have a suggested workflow if you have uploaded a Rails application. So we have Ruby on Rails here. Let's just hit configure. So this is going to set up like a whole YAML file here, and a workflow is what they call it for when we push. So right now this has Ruby on Rails CI, which does main and branches and sets up like Postgres, for example, installs Ruby, and then runs the test, which is great. And you can also set up linting like with Rubocop to make sure that everyone's on the same page. I'm going to remove this for now just to make things a little bit easier. So let's say that we have this set up for now. It's not going to work exactly right yet because we are still using SQLite in development and test environments. But for now, let's just commit it so that we can use it. We can edit it in our own editor here because I don't really want to use this editor to edit all this. So create this. It's fine. So then you can see it's set up in the GitHub workflows. So if we go back to our code here and our repository, let's just pull that down. Great. And then you can see this YAML file is here, so we can just open that up. And we can see that it has a push on main, and for pull requests to main, it sets up this CI situation, which is what we want. So when a pull request is created, it'll run the tests, and it will run bin rake. I think we can just do bin rails test here. We can check just to make sure our Rails tests are working. And we have pass here, so that should be fine. And since we don't actually care about the database URL, because like if you remember going to our database, right now production is the only one that uses Postgres, and test and development uses SQLite. Obviously you can use Postgres for test and development too, that's fine, but I actually really enjoy using SQLite. So I'm not going to change, I'm not going to deal with this. So I'm going to get rid of this. And then we don't actually need any of these services. So just get rid of that. And that's great. So all we need to do now is create a new branch. And let's just add a little change to our application. We'll go to the index home controller and say we just want to change this to register. Okay, you can see there's changes here. So we're going to change these. Update to test and index. Push view. And then let's open this up here and create this pull request. And now we can see that the CI/CD or the CI is, we haven't set up the CD yet portion of it, but we can see that the CI is running, so we can just check the details here. Installing Ruby, setting up the database schema. So instead of having to run all the migrations, it just loads the schema, then it runs the tests, and we see that passed, just like before. And it's passed, check mark, done. So that's how you set up the tests. That's easy, it takes a few minutes. Next, I will show you how to set up the deployments when it merges. So let's check out that next. Okay, so now let's check out how to set up the actual deployment aspect of this. So again, we're just in the .github workflows directory. So you can check out .github here. And we just added a new one called deploy.yaml. And so that's what we're looking at here. It's pretty straightforward. We just want to deploy on push to main. So that means after a PR is merged, or if we push directly to main, then this is going to be run. Ubuntu latest. So we just check out the repository, install Ruby, install Kamal, and then set up SSH. So Kamal works with SSH. So what we need to do is set up the SSH client in the deployment so that it can communicate with our deployment machine that we set up earlier on Hetzner. So all we have to do is just make sure we have the SSH directory. We put the private key into the ID here, and I'll show you how to set up the private key later. Then we have to set up the .m file. So we want the master key in there, and then we need the registry password, which is what Kamal is going to use to push the Docker file to. And set the permissions correctly on the IRSA file, on the private key. And then we use keyscan to get the fingerprint for the host and put it into the known hosts file, so we don't have to say like, yes, this is accepting this new host when we SSH, as you've probably seen before. And then to get these secrets into the environment, we use the env command for GitHub Actions, and this is going to pull in the secrets for the SSH private key, the Rails master key, and the Kamal registry password. So once we have, I'll show you how to set up that in a second, but once we have all of that set up, we just run Kamal deploy, and then we're off to the races. So let's go over to GitHub and I'll show you how that works. Okay, so let's check out how to set up the secrets. So this is just my GitHub, obviously, and just go to settings, go to secrets and variables over here, actions, and then we have the repository secrets. So I already added these. Kamal registry password, Rails master key, SSH private key. Obviously, you can just add whatever you want. And then you can save it as a key, and then you can use it as we looked at in the YAML file. Okay, and now let's check out the deployment. So I pushed up those changes to the main branch, and so the deployment ran here, you can see. The workflow is added here. We called it Kamal deployment. So let's check that out. This one failed earlier, but this is the one that ran. It was 26 minutes. Obviously, it's very long. That was because of Docker, the first Docker build. But as you can see, in the Kamal deployment, we ran Kamal deploy, and it built the Docker image just as it would locally. This is using the same SSH file, same SSH key. You might want to change the SSH key for better security, but this is just to show you how it works. You can obviously update and change what fits your environment and what fits what you need to do to build it. As you can see, this is the same as we've seen before, building Docker, pushing Docker, etc., etc. And then at the end, it actually goes to the deployment where it's running on our web hosts and pushing the new data. So earlier we saw that we updated the text to register so we can check out the SimpleHost website, and you can see that this register has been changed. So now everything is working correctly, and when I merge and when I push, we run the deployment on main, and then every PR has tests running, so you're all ready to go. Thanks for watching.